Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit tre.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray. Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 5:05. You are now listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today, we have Carmel Rogers, Maria Maganto and Janet Barnett. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming in. If you're listening at home and you'd like to get involved, you absolutely can. Here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day, it's a wonderful life.
Now, I don't know about you, but I was sad to see this week that the Body Shop has gone into administration, and it made me think about all those presents that I bought and received growing up. It was like the place to shop for your female friends, and there was an article put together with the headline, "I spent most of my teenage years smelling like a human fruit salad," that I could really relate to. And she made a list, this female journalist, of some of the top items that she used to buy, and so many of them made me smile that I hadn't heard about or thought about for so many years. Dewberry Eau de Toilette. Do you remember Dewberry?
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah.
That was a bit more sophisticated one, wasn't it, Dewberry?
Yes, yes. So the White Musk, of course.
The White Musk,
classic.
that was
That's
a
a classic.
favourite.
Yes. But I reckon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she might have made a mistake here. She put black cherry lip balm, but I distinctly remember Morello cherry lip balm at the Body
I'm sure
Shop.
it was Morello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have black cherries in those days. It was Morello cherries, wasn't it?
It was, exactly, Morello cherry. So, I mean, it wasn't just me then, clearly. You all shopped at the Body Shop.
Oh,
it was-
God. Lived in there.
Well, strangely enough, back in the day, as I lived in Rustington, which was near where her factory was, and they made all the Body Shop goods, so we were very Body Shop fans, because Brighton was right down the road. I went for an interview for a job with the Body Shop. And we went up to somewhere in London, and there was a table full of about 14 all ladies, all competing against each other, doing these different tests and questionnaires and team building to get this job at the Body Shop. And then you were invited down to the factory to go all the way around the factory. So you imagine, if you like that smell in a bottle, imagine walking into a factory that just smelled like walking into a fruit shop on acid, I was going to say.
You just did, it's fine.
On oranges. And I didn't get the job, and I really wanted it, because yes, Body Shop was the place to
It
go.
was cool, wasn't it? It was like, the place to go, and if you were going to buy a gift, it had to be from Body Shop.
Exactly, and I liked making up my own. So they had the gift set where it was all made up, but I liked going in there and getting a little basket and then picking out all the different things for my friends. The bath bombs, the little round, what were they called? They're not called bath bombs. They were before bath bombs. The little plastic
the
things.
little balls.
That had, balls. Yeah, that had oils in and things. Really nice. Great fun.
But don't you think that kind of taken over from that was Lush? Lush, the shop, whenever you walk past it, it's got that kind of really strong sort of like
It's
soapy.
too strong.
It is a bit too strong. I got to agree with you on that.
Overpowering.
Makes you sneeze.
I'm glad you said Lush, because I was trying to think of the word, but they did the bath bombs.
They were the ones for the bath bombs.
Yeah.
They're too strong. I don't like them.
And they do really, really strongly smell when you walk past.
Yeah.
But that is a definite era thing, the Body Shop, isn't it?
I
It's
think
such a shame they've gone.
I know. I think we've kind of gone into rituals now, which I love. Rituals,
Rituals are
L'Occitane as well.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
kinds
like
of brands.
L'Occitane,
Really nice. Lovely, lovely. But yes, it's a shame. There are still some around though. We don't have There was one in Marbella, I
There
think.
was
till
in
quite
like
recently.
I thought there was one in La Cañada.
Yeah, and there's definitely one when I've gone up to the Costa Blanca as well. They're kind of dotted around, and whenever I
Their
see one,
franchises are they? Do you think
Yes.
they would go as well?
Well, if the whole thing closes, they stop making it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
But she had
course.
this wonderful ethos, didn't she? She was the first for refilling your bottles and trying to be a little bit more eco-minded.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is the passing of an era.
Definitely. Oh, very shame. I saw this article and it sort of made me smile. I kind of thought, well, that's not relevant. And then I thought, well, I wonder if it is. When it comes to the art of living beautifully, no nation has mastered it quite so well as the Italians. So much so that it seems 2/3 of adults in Britain want to be more Italian in their approach to life. Things like emulating the way Italians take time to enjoy food, maybe spending more time in the countryside, spending more time with family, and have the same passion for style. That's definitely an Italian thing for sure. I don't know how much of it you can relate to, or whether you feel you're getting all of that in Spain.
Well, we are getting all of it in Spain, but I mean, I spend more time in the country in Italy when I visit my cousin because I do a lot of olive picking.
Oh, nice.
And that's really therapeutic because you're up a ladder or bashing away at an olive tree or collecting them up and putting them in a bowl, and you just think about your thoughts, and you're in the sun and you've got that flavour of Italy, and you know you're going to have a good glass of wine and a nice lunch when you finish. It's rather lovely. It's very bucolic.
Yeah.
Therapeutic.
Oh,
Sounds very like kind of mindfulness. You have your time with your thoughts, and I definitely think that we have a lot of that here in Spain. That kind of, you know, it's very similar. That sort of Latin, you know, enjoying time with your family, spending time outside, food, you know. I think it's really fabulous because it's back to basics, you know.
Yeah.
Those things are really important, and you know, in the modern age, put your phone down, enjoy time, you know, with people.
Definitely.
Taking it easy. I'm afraid my mind was more on the Italian man holding a ladder. I'm sure he was there somewhere, Carmel. Carmel, throw me the olive.
Oh, I love it.
Hope springs eternal.
brilliant. Have you spent much time in Italy?
I've had holidays in Italy, and I did have a romance with an Italian on holiday, which I think most ladies in their 30s at the time do.
Oh, really?
And then they wait for the next coach to come.
The men do, you mean? Not the women, the men.
Oh, fabulous. Yes, I've had some amazing holidays in Italy. PJ and I did a holiday we went to 3 different cities. We did Rome, Florence and Verona.
Oh, fabulous.
In like I don't even think it was 3 weeks. I think just 2 weeks, like a few days in each. We flew for one and flew out from a different airport and got trains to the places. And the trains were really easy and really cheap.
Efficient
and
on time.
Definitely on time. Yes.
And did you get beautiful like kind of scenic sort of train journeys as well? That are beautiful anyway, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something romantic about train journeys,
Yes,
aren't
very
there?
much.
I want to do more train journeys. Absolutely.
Me too.
Rome's like an open-air museum, isn't it? Every time you turn a corner, there's a fabulous statue or a fountain. Or
Definitely.
Yeah,
It's just gorgeous.
Some remains that they're just walking all over. Roman remains, okay.
It's beautiful. And Florence, I have to say, really fell in love with Florence.
Beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful city.
Really stunning. All the buildings, the Duomo and all of that, absolutely stunning. And we discovered Aperol Spritz.
Oh,
Yes. We were there.
Looks like Lucozade, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's just a bit more alcoholic.
Yeah, so we were there, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. It was before they were doing it in Spain at all. We'd never seen it anywhere. And we were in Italy. We were in Florence, actually, and we were sitting having a beer literally right by the Duomo, looking at it, and probably having a cocktail, actually. And we kept seeing people that were drinking these large glasses with this bright orange. So we said to the waiter, what is that orange drink? And he said, do you want one? And we were like, well, what is it? First of all, really nervous what it was going to be like. And he found it difficult to describe, so I said, okay, I'll just have one. And loved it, absolutely loved it. So we bought a bottle of Aperol in the airport when we came back to Spain, and loved it. And then suddenly it was everywhere.
But I think it was bigger in England initially, and then it kind of came to Spain a little bit afterwards, because I was like, what's everyone going on about? I've not been to Italy. And then I kind of found out about it in Italy, but in Spain afterwards. But it's quite medicinal, isn't it? Is it one of those drinks that sort of tastes a bit...
for you.
It's a quite.
It's all alcohol. It's always good for you.
The Italians call a lot of alcoholic drinks digestif.
Yes.
Very good for your digestion.
Oh,
That's their, I think that's another Italian thing, isn't it? All to do with enjoying life. Let's have a digestif.
Talking about the Duomo, I can remember going this walk that takes you up in the Duomo. And they tell you that, you need to be quite fit because there's quite a lot of stairs. But what they don't tell you is the higher up you go, the more and more you have to bend over because it all comes, you imagine the top of the arch, the stairs and the ceiling and the walls are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And you just got to keep going because there's people up behind you that you just keep going. And it's quite amazing how they constructed it.
Wow, we went up the tower. So we didn't do the Duomo bit, we went up the tower next to it. So you have to move in relation to the...
Well, you imagine the stairs, how they built it, sort of going up and up and up. And you're going up over the top of the dome.
Yeah.
Which you can't do in St Paul's Cathedral, but you can imagine you're going up to St Paul's Cathedral.
Yeah.
But of course it has a bend in it. And it gets slightly narrower because they have to stop it to go back down the other way at some
That's
point.
quite scary, doesn't it?
So you're not standing up.
Do you get a bit claustrophobic then? The fact that you can't go backwards,
No,
you have to...
keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same.
Yes. There's not a lot that I'm scared of, but that's one of the things. If you're in that kind of situation where I can't imagine going potholing or anything like that. When you're in the situation where if you think, I'm not enjoying this anymore, I'd like to get out. You can't kind of go, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. You're in an actual tunnel with somebody behind you, someone in front of you. No,
you could say, I'm a celebrity, give me an Aperol Spritz.
That would help you probably get through
And
it.
an Italian,
You'd have a lot of power then. You'd be like, I can power through this.
Imagine if that worked. I'm just going to say that all the time and see what happens. So there was an article, Giles was telling me about this earlier. I thought it sounded very funny. So we can talk about this from various points of view. This was a press release that was sent out that says, Grams go free. EasyJet Holidays launches a unique deal to encourage multi-generational travel. The unique twist on Kids Go Free allows grandparents to travel on the house-to-family favourite European destinations. New research reveals 51% of families have never been on holiday with the grandparents. More than half of the UK regret not spending more time with them. So twofold. When you were younger, did you go on holiday with your grandparents? As you're getting older, whether you are a grandparent or grandparent kind of age, can you imagine going on holiday with your kids and your grandkids, all that kind of, so all the different dimensions? What do we think?
Can't think of anything worse.
Which way round?
Well, I remember going on holiday as a child with my two grandparents, the mother of my father and the mother of my, you know what I mean, two grandmothers. And they needed more looking after than I did. I was only about 5. They were always ill.
I thought you would say they were going to be like partying.
Yeah. No, not at all. And me, I mean, not having any children, not ever having wanted any, cats, dogs and horses, me, I'd be quite happy to go on holiday with my cats, dogs and horses. But no, children, no. But I think for, people that are, I'm going to think it must be great because they can give their mum and dad a bit of a night off and look after the kids.
Well, you'd assume that's the plus.
If they're going to take them on holiday, because it might be free for them to travel, but it's obviously not going to be free, for them to eat, drink, and be merry.
This is quite a kind of a Mediterranean-like feel to it. Because Spanish people, I remember going on holiday with my Spanish grandma when I lived in England, and that was really normal. And I'd say that's something that is, because family is so kind of, key point in that, in sort of, in Spanish, Italian kind of relations, it is something that is really, really normal. You do go on holiday with your grandparents, and, me of my age now, I'd love to go away with my mum and dad anytime because I know I have a good laugh with them anyway because, we've got that kind of relationship.
Yeah, lovely. My first proper holiday, when I was 5, I guess, was with my parents and my mum's mum and dad. and it was in a car as well. We drove from London, Dorset, down to the south of France. Stopping at places along the way. We were camping, Eurocamp, fabulous thing to do with families. And I don't remember a lot about it. I probably feel like I remember more just through
from
looking
what you've
at
been
photos.
told, and what you've been told.
But in reality, I probably don't remember much at all. But I think it was great. We all had a good time together. I don't think there was much grandparents looking after me while mum and dad went out and partied and stuff. We all just did stuff together as a family, and it was lovely.
An adventure. That driving, I think people want to go back to as well. That they go on a kind of a road trip, and you go on a road trip together. But I remember not having great memories about going on road trips with my parents, because there would be three of us in the back of the car always arguing.
Well, that's the thing. Road trips, you need to all really get along well with the road trip. We did a road trip where I'm an only child, and my best friend from school came with us, and we would have been 14, 15 at the time, and even that was a bit hairy. Just from the point of view of what music we were going to listen to. Even though we were really good friends, we had completely different taste in music. So I wanted to have what I wanted on, and she wanted something completely different, and mum, being ever the diplomat, was wanting to have what she had on slightly more, so she wasn't being favoritism to her daughter. So.
I struggle with my children just going from one place to another, just going to maybe after-school activities, because the music they like is, I know I've turned into a parent now, but the music they like is absolutely dreadful, and I'm going, no, I want to listen to classic, kind of, Queen or some kind of rock, decent, and they just want to listen to stuff that I just think,
they're like, Mum,
totally.
Well, look, these the road trips I remember was in my father's Dormobile, and there certainly wasn't anything as highfalutin as radio or music. So that's, I think we used to sing. We used to sing 10 Green Bottles and stuff like that.
Lovely.
And a couple of my school friends came. I got on with them. They enjoyed it. I'd much rather a school friend than a granny.
Friends go free. I think I'd rather that.
Friends go free.
You didn't do much family travelling?
No, I'm very quiet on this because we didn't have family holidays and I didn't have any grandparents. But now, having I'm not a granny myself, but I have stepchildren who have children, so I'm a step granny, I suppose.
Yeah, nice.
And it can be a little bit difficult with very young children and then middle-aged children, like in their 20s, and then their parents older than that. 3 generations trying to keep happy. And it sounds idyllic, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it's just a pain.
No, it's true. It's nice to think that, lovely families travelling together, but it's obviously not always like that. But if you can get on and sort of make it work, I think it will be worth it. I think when you're older, looking back, it would be nice to have those memories of spending time with parents and grandparents and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true.
I think recently there was a little article about David Baddiel, the comedian, who said he was trying to stretch out as much as he possibly could to have travelling and trips with his children, because he said he knew they were going to fly the nest. And so it was kind of, he was trying to cling on to those sort of memories of having that, those moments with the family and going on those trips together. And I thought that was actually quite nice, because, I do understand that you just think, that they're going to fly the nest. You know that they're going to have their own lives, and you're not going to be able to have those moments again. So
absolutely, these are all precious times. We better take a break.
Hannah Murray, TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today, we have Carmel, Maria and Janet. If you're listening at home and you want to get involved, you can give us a call on 952 78 4000, or you can send a WhatsApp to +34 645 99 67 95, or send an email to studio@tre.radio. The love letter is at risk of being consigned to the history books after a poll found almost half of young lovers today have never written a romantic note. 9 in 10 Britons aged 18 to 35 believe traditional gestures of affection such as notes, chocolates and flowers are old-fashioned. Do you remember receiving and or writing love letters when you were young?
Yeah, it's a shame it's all faded out. It's all texts now.
It's all I love you by a kiss.
Yes.
or an emoji.
Yes.
and they're, I remember getting them, from my first boyfriend when I was about 15, and they were like really long letters. And do you remember you used to have lovely writing paper and that lined thing underneath, and you'd get a lovely fountain pen, and
it was
they are beautiful. They are beautiful things, but they just sort of, it's really sad. People just don't write them. Even cards, I think people find them hard to write now because people don't write that much with pens. They're more typing, and which I think is a real shame.
It is a shame because it's nice when you get a card, like a Christmas card, and it's got a proper letter from somebody inside it, a proper message. You just actually can hear them saying it.
With some news.
We talked about this yesterday at the CAP Club, because it was obviously Valentine's Day, and that people don't write letters anymore, and we don't put down in writing how we feel about somebody. And it's, I didn't say it at the time because most of them are much older than us, but you leave it until somebody's passed away and you write a beautiful eulogy, which probably would have been quite nice if you'd written those things and passed it to them before they passed it.
Absolutely.
It's a shame.
So important.
You can't put an emoji on your mantelpiece, can you?
No, you can't.
And you can't find it years later. When you're going through either your own belongings, trying to have a clear out, or going through loved ones' belongings after they've passed on. It's all the letters and cards and things that you find that you've kept for whatever reason, or you didn't even realise you've kept, or they've kept, that you go through and make you smile, make you cry, whatever. And these are moments of history. You're not going to do that with text messages and emails and stuff.
They're
you
gone.
don't. So it's
the price of progress.
Sorry, say that again?
The price of progress.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, do you... Because I've got friends who... I don't have children, but I've got friends who have got children who make their children still write thank you letters for certain things, for presents, and I know loads of people who don't, but I'm just thinking of one particular friend who does do that. But it's certainly not a normal thing to do, I don't think, anymore.
No.
Within my small bit of my family that we keep in daily touch with, we do all write thank you letters.
Really? How lovely.
It's a thing, it's a note, and the kids write thank you letters.
That's really
lovely.
nice.
And it's sort of a discipline, but it isn't, because he's actually got to sit and choose a card, think what you're going to put it in an envelope, put the address on it so you're sending it to Auntie Janet, and it goes in the post, and
That's really lovely. It's such a nice thing to do. I'll be honest, the last time I did that was after our wedding. We did send thank you notes to everybody after our wedding. I got things printed. We got a photo, one of the professional photos. I actually got thank you cards printed, and it was really lovely. It was really enjoyable to do all that. And yes, I hand wrote thank you letters to everyone who came and sent them in the post. It was lovely, but I admit I haven't done one since. That was like 6 years ago. Oh, it's weird.
We're going to revive the art of thank you letters. Thank you notes.
Yeah, why not?
My parents used to make me write thank you letters, but it's not something I do now.
No.
It's a shame, really.
Now you'd send a message, you'd send a WhatsApp and say thanks so much, had a lovely evening, it was really nice to see you, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But I had a birthday recently, and both my children had written me birthday cards and written messages inside, and they are really really lovely and really nice sort of heartfelt messages, and you just kind of think, I wonder if they would have written that in a message, and it's not the same thing. And I've got them on my bedside table as like a reminder of when they're being a little bit moody or grumpy, I sort of go, oh, but they were nice. They did write this lovely thing.
Exactly. And it's lovely looking back over cards, and you'll probably keep those for many, many years, and then in 20, 30 years time or whatever, you'll go through this box of memories and find them and go, oh, I remember when I got that card and I kept it on my bedside table, and just a beautiful memory to have that you wouldn't do with a text message.
No.
Yeah, nice. We should do more. Separate beds, try different houses. This is what Cameron Diaz said recently, the American actress. She said, It's touted as the secret to a healthy and happy marriage by 1 in 5 couples who sleep in separate bedrooms. But Cameron Diaz has suggested spouses should even live in different houses. Obviously, if you've got the money, one would assume.
That'd be nice.
She said, I have my house, you have yours. I will go and sleep in my room and you sleep in your room. And we have the bedroom in the middle that we can convene in for our relations. Whatever they might be. Some little chat or a cup of tea, perhaps. Goodness knows what they do in there.
But Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton, they had 2 houses
Next
door to each other with a door adjoining. They're not married now, though, so...
No.
Maybe it wasn't quite as idyllic as...
Woody Allen and Mia Farrow had 2 apartments, one either side of Central Park.
Did they?
I don't think they're married now, though, is it? Stepdaughter or something.
Classically royal family. Royal family have a similar sort of setup, don't they? Look at the crown. They have sort of... They had like a sort of a
dressing room in the middle.
Absolutely.
But separate bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the separate houses thing is kind of going too far. That would feel really odd, I think, being in a different house. I don't
think it'd be very healthy, would it? I quite like separate bedrooms, especially if there's snoring involved.
Well, yes, I can see the attraction of that, definitely. Yes, I suppose it depends on... I don't know. It depends on the time of your life. It depends on what's important. It depends on whether you've got kids. There's kind of so many things, so many questions around it. I just think whatever works for people. I think who are we to judge whether it's right or wrong? If it works for people, then brilliant.
Yeah.
If people aren't happy for whatever reason staying in the same bed or house, then
have your space.
Have your space,
Yeah, have your space.
Definitely. Okay, we better take another break.
Hannah Murray, TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Women Talk. With me in the studio today, we have Carmel, Maria and Janet. There is an article about... Well, I was going to say homeschooling. It's called flexi schooling. The middle class mums flexi schooling their children. Never heard of it? Well, it's the radical new trend where they attend lessons for part of the week and you decide what to teach them for the rest. And astonishingly, over 400 schools in Britain are already offering it. So this mother says the girls will fly to Barcelona for the day instead of learning in class. And they'll go and see what's happening in Barcelona. It sounds great. I know my mum wanted to homeschool me, but didn't in the end. And but she really kind of wanted to. What do we think about homeschooling? Maria, you had to do it during COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. I was really fortunate in the school that my children are at. They did a lot of online classes, which was really funny because you kind of felt like you were in the house with the teacher and the teacher was in your house. It was really kind of, you kind of felt like you were kind of going through this thing together. And my daughter, who's a little bit older, she managed a lot better because she's very kind of able to just get on and know what she needs to do. And actually, she really kind of enjoyed it in a weird way.
Nice.
Whereas, boys... a little bit more complicated and a little bit more, no, you've got to do this, and they just lose they kind of get distracted. But I think homeschooling sounds like a really lovely idea if you have a lot of money and if you have a lot of time. I mean, flying off to Barcelona, wouldn't we all love to go and do a school trip to Barcelona? But it's not necessarily within the capability of a lot of people. So I don't know how I feel about sort of homeschooling, because I think the social aspect's really important as well, and I think children need to have that, socialising, and I think that they wouldn't necessarily have it. So.
Yeah, a good friend of mine was homeschooled, and he's incredibly intelligent and articulate, and it's done wonders for him. But he always says he lacked, making friends and socialising and stuff, because he didn't. The only people he socialised with was his parents and his parents' friends, who were obviously his parents' age. So he wasn't used to socialising with people at all. He's making up for it now, but but yeah. It's interesting. I think it's part of me thinks it's a really lovely idea. I think there's so much you could gain from it, as long as you've got the parent, whoever's going to be doing it, as long as they know what they're doing lots of research, and they're able to put the time and effort into it, which a lot of parents obviously aren't.
No,
needing
working,
to be able to
they're
work.
A lot of them
managing.
have to work.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have the money to be able to.
No.
I mean, you might be lucky to get a day trip to Fuengirola.
Yes, quite.
But, to fly them to Barcelona wouldn't really be
No.
it wouldn't be possible. But
No.
I think a lot of parents would love to homeschool their kids, but
Yeah.
it's just not feasible. It's
No.
just not
Yeah,
practical.
I think it does probably come down to financially being able to do that.
Yeah.
And having the home that's got the space to do it, because you can't all sit around the kitchen table if there's a lot of you in one house. But sounds wonderful if you can do those marvellous things and go on a trip here or a museum there, or go into the library and pop a book from Grandad's shelf. Wonderful, but it's perhaps not real.
Yeah.
And it needs to be qualified, you need to, as in, who would say, yes, this person is qualified enough to be able to teach their children at home, anybody, and I could be wrong, and I could be sort of, but I've heard a little bit about America. There's a lot of children in America who are homeschooled, and a lot of those children are not necessarily being homeschooled by people who are qualified to be teaching them. Education is so important, and it is key to understanding the world at large. And if you've got somebody who is at home teaching you a certain brand of what they believe the world is, that can be a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of parents, or people even, not necessarily just parents, but a lot of people would think, this is what kids should be learning at school. We've talked about it loads on this programme, that kids should be learning more about managing finances, mortgages, saving money, all that kind of thing. There's so many things that kids could learn more about that maybe parents could bring to the equation. But then how many parents would know how to teach certain aspects of mathematics or science that maybe they didn't really get at school, and don't think it's really necessary, is it? I don't know. Things like algebra, and a lot of people haven't really used it in their adult life, but if you go down a certain path, you need it. If you go into physics and science and any kind of STEM subject, then all those subjects that you learned at school around maths and science are imperative. So
I'd be great on Greek mythology and awful on algebra or fractions or logarithms. A whole lot went over my head as a kid.
Yeah.
I was awful at maths and quite good at English.
Difficult to apply in kind of normal life. I think that's part of the problem, isn't it?
I think the other side, that what you mentioned, the socialising aspect of being in school, I think one of the issues after a couple of years of COVID were people saying that the children were isolated, they hadn't got friendships, they had 2 years of stagnating in that development side of them. So they were introspective.
Yeah, kids really missed out in that time, definitely, especially particular years. So I remember thinking for kids that would have been going from either primary school to high school, or leaving high school to potentially go to sixth form or college, those leaving years when you're saying goodbye to all your friends, you're having your leaving parties, your dances, or whatever. They all missed out. First kisses, all those kind of little things. They didn't get to do all that. And that's huge.
Yeah.
When you look back in your schooling days, how important all those things were. Yeah. Very sad. Okay, moving on to... Yeah, this is a controversial one. This one keeps coming up a lot. It's an interesting one to mention. Hundreds of primary and secondary schools have been told to stop calling pupils boys and girls after signing up to a Stonewall scheme. More than 300 schools, including nurseries teaching children as young as 2, receive awards from the charity if they remove any unnecessarily gendered language from the classroom. Instead, they are urged to use they and children or young people. Other advice includes installing gender-neutral toilets and making both boys and girls wear the same uniforms. This worries me, all this.
It worries me too. I mean,
I don't get
what's wrong with girls and boys.
I know, I don't get why they're sort of pushing it. It just feels like pushing an agenda here.
Gone too far.
I think so.
It's going a bit too far. Yeah, and without being kind of a real traditionalist, I just think you can take it this sort of step where the children then are not sure what's going on. because they're being kind of forced this, a bit like what we were talking earlier about somebody else's agenda. You know, how do they feel comfortable with saying what they feel without it sort of just. Is it wokeism? Is it a bit, this kind of feeling like we have to do something that maybe isn't natural, sort of saying, because you're constantly, if you're told you can't say girls or boys, then you're having to kind of think, okay, they, or children, or little people, or, I just think...
Lot.
Yeah.
You lot.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're I get the whole celebrating differences and all that kind of thing, but it's like they're encouraging children to be different. It's like they're encouraging children to think about the fact whether they really want to be called a girl or not. You don't have to call yourself a girl. Do you feel like a girl? If you don't feel like a girl, that's okay.
Yeah.
And they're sort of... I feel like they're making children think about things that maybe they wouldn't have thought about before, as if
maybe too early.
And I don't understand that.
Yeah.
You read these stories about a child that's identified as a cat.
Yes, exactly.
So she licks her hands in the class.
Exactly.
And then there's another one that identifies as a chair. Well, what's that all about?
Yeah.
It's going too far. I really am against gender-neutral toilets in schools.
Yeah, same.
Teenage years. I think for girls it's worse, and it must be just horrendous sharing toilets with boys.
Yeah.
I don't like sharing toilets with men.
No.
I went somewhere recently and and I sort of saw a man coming out the toilet, and then I realised the sign said men and women, and I felt really kind of a bit like, not really sure how I feel about this.
Quite a few of them about, aren't there now?
They're in a school when you're going through puberty, and boys and girls.
You're self-conscious anyway.
All that confusion in their own heads. But to share a toilet with teenage boys, I would hate that.
Smelly boys. Or smelly people, should we say.
Especially when they make the doors so short so that the teachers can look underneath in case something's going on. And you think, oh, gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, we're all traditionalists, aren't we?
Young people are turning their backs on alcohol, with 2 in 5 aged under 25 saying they are non-drinkers. They are a sober generation compared to their parents, still guzzling bottles of wine to unwind. This is a fascinating one.
2 out of 5 have turned their back.
Yes, 2 in 5.
Okay, that's not a bad thing, but I don't think they can say that they're turning their back. The younger generation is turning their back when it's only 2 in 5.
No,
it's not even half.
But I've got friends with kids from the age of kind of 15, 16, 17, 18 up to early 20s who aren't drinking. They some of them smoke, unfortunately, but they'll get together with their friends and drink water, drink coffee. Maybe smoke cigarettes if they're doing that, but as opposed to getting together.
Tea.
Yes.
Oh, I know, and it's not very nice, is it?
I've never had one.
I tried it. I was like, is this what everyone's going on about? Is this supposed to be really amazing? It's not.
I haven't tried it yet. I'm not sure. Is it chai seeds that bulk up? And
yes,
is it that kind
it's
of
a
thing?
bit like.
It's got a weird texture. It's like frog spawn.
Yes. Really, really. I mean, I only tried it once, only because my daughter was saying she really, really wanted to try some because everybody was trying it.
Yeah.
And then I tried it. I said, "Oh, that's revolting." She goes, "I know, it's not very nice, is it?"
It's funny how these things are hyped up,
trend.
and then you because it looks cool because you think, oh, drinking something with bubbles in it looks really cool, but then the texture that's pretty odd.
I think I agree with you, but that it's not a bad thing that people don't want to drink.
No, definitely not.
But I think generationally, culturally, in our era, it was very different. So it's kind of it's sort of the changing that kind of like their generation or their culture is sort of not really into, drinking. And I think that's quite a good thing. But I do think, I think you shouldn't, I'm not just about judging anybody, and I just think, if that's what you want to do, then that's great and good for you, but don't judge other people for doing something.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? And I think some people can be a bit judgy.
Oh, definitely.
A bit worried about vaping as well, because that seems to be taking over.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And we don't yet know the
consequences of what
that's about. No, that's true. I mean, when we were in our late teens, early 20s, to go out, you didn't actually have an awful lot of money to go out, so you made one drink last. So you weren't drinking spirits, wines and spirits. You drank shandy, cider,
yeah.
And you didn't drink very much because you couldn't afford to.
Yeah.
So I don't think we suffered from not getting drunk.
No.
Early, up to that age, 18 to 25.
Yeah. I just find it fascinating. I'm just thinking about my own kind of time at that age and how different it was, just seeing kids getting together now to play sport and to drink water. I just think, wow, we never did that when I was like, nobody did.
You were a bit odd if you were like really sporty, whereas now it's quite cool and good.
Yes, absolutely. It is really cool
healthy.
to be sporty. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think more and more youngsters are caring more about their health and looking good and feeling good, and the kids are getting into, a lot of young girls are getting into skincare much earlier than I ever did.
But do you think that's to do with like technology and like social media and sort of that kind of thing? They're sort of learning a lot of that kind of stuff, whereas
definitely,
you would be, lucky to get any kind of makeup. It'll be Body Shop, sort of some coconut face cream. It wouldn't be like some amazing and really expensive stuff.
Really expensive.
Yeah. Woolies.
I used to love Woolworths.
Me
The pick and mix.
Yeah. Oh, wasn't it fab?
Biscuits. We used to have a thing of broken biscuits.
Yes.
There's biscuits, and then there's a tub where all the broken bits went. You could buy that in a bag much cheaper. Love that.
Love it. Oh, I used to love the pick and mix in Woolworths, but it was always nerve-wracking because that was the one that was by weight, wasn't it?
Yes.
Woolworths was by weight, and I was never very good at gauging as to how. Because I was thinking, I'm not going to spend as much as a $5 or whatever. I had to keep the price down. And then sometimes you'd give them the bag and realise you'd gone way over the top and spent way more than you'd ever spent if you were buying a bag of sweets. You have to pretend, and it lasts you for a long time.
Cinema in Puerto Banús, where they've got some at one price and some at other, and you're happily dipping it all in, and they go, oh no, sorry, this is...
Oh no!
As usual, complicated.
Okay. Half of British teenagers fear they have become addicted to social media. 48% of 16 to 18-year-olds felt they had lost control over how much time they spent online, and girls suffered more than boys. I get it. I think I would have been at that age, definitely.
Me too.
It's easy
addictive.
I think we all are addicted to our phones and looking at things on our phones.
Yeah, I really feel for young people. I think it would be hard not to at their age, and I feel for parents as well, because it's not easy just to go, well, you're only using a phone. Yeah.
How do you control it? It is really complicated. It's a really difficult sort of area to tackle, because you will have children saying, well, I don't have a telephone and I'm missing out, my friends know about stuff that I don't necessarily know about, or they have a group chat or whatever. But then there's also the dark side of that, which is online bullying. Bullying isn't just about now being in a classroom. It can be on a telephone, people making groups and that kind of thing, and it's really dangerous, and it's a sort of a difficult, lonely place to be. And I think children are sometimes not equipped at all, to be able to deal with it, and I think that's what's really, really hard. But as adults, my children will say to me, you're on your phone.
Yeah, exactly. We have a caller on the line. Hello, you're on Talk Radio Europe.
Hi, Hannah, it's Teresa. I just want to say I'm surprised it's only half.
The half of teens are addicted to social media. You think it'll be more?
I would have expected it to be more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Do you think that most kids are addicted to their phones then?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my kid is 30 this year, and he's not. But I'm 66, and I'm probably more addicted to it than he is.
Yeah, it's so easy, isn't it? It's so easy to become addicted to it. Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was addicted, but I certainly use my phone more than he does.
Yeah.
I stayed with him for 2 weeks just recently, and my phone was nearly always near me, and his wasn't.
Wow.
Near him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why was his wasn't? How has he managed to get to 30 and not be on his phone all the time?
Well, he has two phones, one for work and one for home.
Okay.
And he just knows that it's not healthy to be on one all the time, I think.
Oh, good for him.
He's consciously chosen, which is good.
Despite my worst efforts, he's actually more intelligent than I am.
Brilliant. Thanks for your call, Teresa. Thank you. Bye-bye. Wow. Yeah, they're just so handy, aren't they? They've got everything you need. Any time you have a question about something, you can look it up on your phone. You can use it for social media. You can look at it for news. You can look at it for emails. You've got
reading,
WhatsApp,
if you've got a Kindle app, you know. Yeah,
literally everything.
I must admit, I can sit in the evenings and I don't know what I'm doing on my phone. I'm reading mail online or I'm doing silly quizzes. And when it comes for the dog wanting to go out, he gets on my lap and he looks at me and says, "What are you doing on your phone?" He really does. He's pushing as if to get that phone out of my hand.
Yes.
Excuse me, I haven't finished.
At least a German Shepherd.
That's brilliant. Everyone needs a dog like yours.
He knows, though. He knows there's the connection between you and your phone, and he needs to come between you.
He's got to break this up. It's going on too long.
Oh, brilliant! What do you spend more time on, if you're honest, on your phone? When you are on your phone a lot,
Facebook.
what is it doing? Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook or Instagram probably. But I do go on Google to look at news. So I go into my Google to see kind of what news stories are coming up. And what I think is quite brilliant is when you get certain news stories come up or certain sources of news, you can say, I don't want anything more from this news source. So it won't show you. So it's kind of intelligent learning, the stuff that you like to read.
Yes, that's clever. Not games.
I do.
I love a games.
I do a word one, and then I do an untangle the snake one.
Okay.
And these things are all wrapped around each other, and I sit down and think, I'm only going to do 2, and then I do another one. I think, I must get up and do something. So games, I do.
I do. I love it. I find it really relaxing.
Ever got into games. The only thing I did was when I was in Italy with my cousin, we were waiting for something in a garage, I think, and we did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Nice.
And I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I've seen her do, I think it's called Candy Crush.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I'm not going to get into it. There's not enough hours in the day.
But interestingly, your game that you were talking about was like sort of together. You were doing it interacting.
Yes.
Which makes a difference.
Yes.
Kind of interacting in that game.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, the question went out there, and we both tried to answer it, which I think is much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also you're using your brain as well because it's quiz questions.
I love quizzes.
Yeah,
but I don't really like that snake thing. Would keep me awake at night.
That's what I thought too. It would make me anxious.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it being tangled. Got enough tangles going on in my washing.
That's the time when I play games the most, lying in bed on my phone, and it helps me go to sleep. People always say, "Oh, you shouldn't use your phone just before you go to sleep," but I feel like it helps me sleep. I can't kind of, if I'm lying in bed, I don't just like go, "Oh, I'm turning the light off and going to sleep," because then I'll be lying there thinking about stuff. So I bring my phone out and I play games on my phone, and then my eyes start to go.
But they say that light is a stimulant.
That's right, blue light, isn't it?
I know they do, but
it's hypnotic.
I have to read, and I need a book. I don't like when I was on the ships. I used to have a Kindle because
I've got so many. I do that as well.
But I do like a real book. So at night, I've got to read a couple of chapters of my book.
Yeah,
that's what relaxes me.
Hit you as you fall backwards.
No, I try, but that has happened. So I try not to always stick to paperbacks.
But I prefer reading my Kindle with the light off. Yeah. If I'm reading with the light on, my brain kind of tells me it's to stay awake. The light off helps me to feel like I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
And then the Kindle I can read, and again I'll feel like my eyes are going, and then I just put it down and go to sleep.
Try untangling the snakes. It's like a snake charmer. It makes you go, ooh.
Like it. Things that millennials refuse to buy. This is something that I go back to time and time again because there's a long list of really bizarre things that some will be able to relate to, some maybe not. So, do you prefer body wash? The name of the game now is Body Wash. Bars of soap are almost obsolete, even when your bathtub might have a built-in soap dish. Chances are younger folks haven't used that dish at all, and there's a good reason behind that.
Body wash.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But soaps are coming back. You know why?
They
no
are.
plastic.
Natural. They are. Some nice
no
ones.
plastic. People use them for their hair.
Shampoo as well.
Shampoo.
Oh, I use a soap shampoo. Yeah.
Is it any good?
Yeah, I love it.
Really?
Volume.
I've heard they're not that
Garnier.
great.
I tried one and it wasn't great.
Would you
Very
hold
dry.
Square soap and rub it over your head?
Yeah, and you rub it in, and then it frosts up, and then you do it like that. You know, while you wash with your fingers, and then you rinse it, and then repeat. It's a good one. Garnier.
Yeah. Okay.
I like mine. You can get a nice honey and something one, and then there's a black one which I don't know, but that's quite good. Quite volumising.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting.
There we go. Well,
I had a flashback to Soap on a Rope. Do you remember Soap on a Rope?
Yes. It was a Christmas present classic.
Yeah. And they were either orange or lemon, and you had them round your neck.
round your neck.
Well, you put soap on a rope, or you hung them over the sort of thing, the soap dish.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes, exactly.
You didn't lose it.
No.
And I follow lots of groups about the Camino de Santiago. It's one of the things that I'd really like to do. And they all say, take a soap bar with you because you can use it for lots of things. You can wash your clothes, wash your hair, wash your body. Reduces the amount of things that you have to carry.
That's good
That's
advice.
good advice. And it just dries off and it just pops in your backside.
Yeah. How about lottery tickets? Millennials did the maths when it comes to winning the lottery, and they know the odds aren't in their favour. In 2016, 61% of people aged between 50 and 64 played the lottery. Conversely, only 1/3 of folks aged 18 to 29 tried to get rich the easy way. It's always fun to dream about, but millennials are betting that the lottery isn't going to pay for their massive student loan debt.
They're probably right, but I do like to get a lottery ticket whenever I go to La Cañada. I get a little Euro Milliones.
Yeah.
I think it's having that hope that you might just win.
Yes. Well, have you done it regularly then? Are you the kind of person that if you stopped, you'd think, oh, that'll be the week I win, so you have to keep going?
Yeah, I've won little bits and pieces, not a lot, but I think 80 euros was the most I ever won.
Oh,
That's not bad.
No,
but you probably spent more than that.
Yeah, it's usually 13
Yeah, you
or 12.
spend a lot, don't you? Yeah.
I've won the lottery this week. I'm running away. I've won 10 euros.
And I bet you put it back in. My mum and dad always do that.
Yeah.
When they win something, they go, oh, I'm going to buy some more. I'm going to buy some more.
Get a train ticket, Carmel. And get you to Fuengirola.
Fuengirola for the day for an Aperol Spritz.
I think you'd have to choose. I think 10 euros would either get you to Fuengirola or an Aperol Spritz.
I always say with the lottery tickets I always go, there's one guarantee: I'm definitely going to lose my money because I'm not likely to win. But I still do it, even
Do
though.
you?
Yes.
And do you do it every week?
No, not every week.
Okay.
I do it kind of randomly when my mum and dad are here. They love doing that, and they buy all the Spanish lottery tickets as well. That I'm not sure how they work. Yeah.
Oh, we're coming to the end of the show. I completely lost track of time. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Howard's coming up next. That's something like we've got 9 seconds left. How did that happen? I'm going to keep going. Bye.
Thank you.
On
Bye-bye.
mobile.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.